What should have been the happiest day of a woman's life became her last. On that fateful day in a luxurious hotel, a joyous celebration of love took a terrible turn, transforming into a scene of unimaginable horror. What could drive a man to murder his bride on their wedding night? This heartbreaking question yet reverberates through the now infamous corridors of the hotel, where a woman named Lori spent her final moments alive. The answer lies in a secret, one so shocking, it turned wedding bells into police sirens and a celebration into a crime scene that haunts the memories of all who were there. Stay with me on this as I unravel the events of June 15, 2023, a day that began with champagne toasts and ended with bloodshed. The pristine white wedding carpet, carefully laid out just hours before, now tells a different story, one stained in crimson, where scattered wedding gifts lay trampled beneath police boots and a bride lay motionless in her honeymoon suite. However, before I reveal the shocking truth that triggered this tragedy, let me quickly take you back to where it all began. In late 2022, at a tech industry charity gala, Lori's laugh caught Michael Coleman attention from across the room. A brilliant software engineer, Lori possessed the kind of genuine warmth that drew people in. Michael, a successful real estate developer known for his charm and traditional values, approached her with a glass of champagne and his signature confident smile. What happened next seemed like a perfect modern fairy tale. Within 6 months, Michael had proposed on a private yacht in the San Francisco Bay, presenting Lori with a stunning 5-carat diamond ring. To their friends, they were the perfect couple. She, the innovative tech genius with a kind heart and quick wit. He, the ambitious businessman with old-world charm and deep family ties. As you'll soon discover, the warning signs were actually there, hidden beneath the surface of their picture-perfect romance. Pay close attention to what happens next, as every detail becomes crucial to understanding the violent turn of events that would shock Silicon Valley to its core. Lori quickly charmed Michael's close-knit Mexican-American family, particularly his mother, Betty, with her excellent cooking and respect for traditional values. Despite all these, whispers began to circulate. Why were there no childhood photos of Lori? Why did she speak so vaguely about her past in China? Why did her parents always have an excuse not to visit? Not even for their only daughter's wedding. Betty Coleman, Michael's mother, would later tell investigators through tears, "Something felt wrong in my gut, but I stayed silent. That silence haunts me every day." In Lori's professional life, she was a rising star. Her colleagues at the tech firm described a private but brilliant woman, always first to arrive and last to leave. Lori could crack problems no one else could touch, her team leader would later testify, but mention her past, and she'd build this invisible wall around herself. What you're about to learn next will challenge everything you thought you knew about this case. Stay with me, because the events that unfolded in that honeymoon suite reveal a dark truth about how quickly love can turn to hatred. Michael's background holds crucial clues to the tragedy that would unfold. Raised in a traditional Mexican-American household, he carried the weight of rigid family expectations. His father, a self-made businessman, had instilled in him an uncompromising sense of right and wrong. A previous engagement had crumbled when his fiancée failed to meet his family's exacting standards. This time, Michael was determined to get it right. However, Lori harbored a secret, one that would shatter their world and trigger a chain of events, leading to one of the most shocking crimes in history of their city. As the evening of their wedding day approached, an anonymous email would arrive in Michael's inbox, containing information that would turn celebration into catastrophe. What happens next will leave you questioning everything about this seemingly perfect couple. How well do we really know the ones we love? At what point does the right to privacy collide with the obligation of truth? And most terrifyingly, what pushed a man to commit such a brutal act on what should have been the happiest day of their lives? As we proceed with this devastating story, please kindly take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Your support means the world to me and helps us continue sharing stories like this one. Every case we cover carries vital lessons that could one day save your life or the life of someone you love. They say knowledge is power, and it truly is. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button now. Join our community of critical thinkers who believe that knowledge is the ultimate defense against becoming a victim. As darkness fell over the hotel that evening, Lori retreated to the bridal suite to freshen up before the reception dinner. The day had been perfect, the ceremony flawless, the photographs stunning, the champagne flowing. But within the next 15 minutes, everything would change. The unexpected was about to unfold in the blink of an eye. I want you to pay close attention at this point because what I'm about to tell you reveals how a single email shattered this facade of perfection. At exactly 7:42 p.m., while Lori was upstairs, Michael's phone buzzed. The sender's address was unfamiliar, but the subject line made his blood run cold. The truth about your new wife. Inside were photographs, dozens of them. Old pictures from Thailand, medical documents, and a birth certificate. The truth about Lori's past lay bare in his trembling hands. The woman he had just married, the person he thought he knew everything about, had been born as Stephen in rural China. Wow, that's a great shock, I must say. Okay, let's be practical for a minute. Imagine this. You marry someone and moments later, you discover they weren't who you thought they were. As a man, you find out your wife was born male. Or as a woman, you discover the man you just walked down the aisle with was born female. Truthfully, what would your reaction be? Please be realistic. What would you do? Let me know in the comments below. The security cameras would later capture Michael's journey to the bridal suite. His face, moments earlier beaming with joy, now twisted with an emotion hotel staff would describe as pure rage. He took the stairs instead of the elevator, each step heavy with purpose, each floor bringing him closer to a confrontation that would end in tragedy. What happened next inside suite 1542 has been pieced together through witness testimonies, police reports, and the haunting evidence left behind. But I warn you, the details of what unfolded are deeply disturbing. According to guests in neighboring rooms, the argument began with sharp whispers that quickly escalated to shouts. "You lied to me?" echoed through the halls, followed by the sound of shattering glass. A housekeeping cart stood abandoned in the hallway as staff heard Lori's voice pleading, "Please let me explain. I loved you too much to lose you." But Michael wasn't listening anymore. The man who had promised to love and cherish Lori just hours before was gone, replaced by someone consumed by anger and betrayal. What he did next would shock even veteran homicide detectives. The hotel guest in room 1544 would later testify to hearing 3 distinct thuds against the connecting wall, followed by an eerie silence. That silence, more terrifying than the screams that preceded it, lasted exactly 4 minutes before the first police siren pierced the night air. Stay with me, because what the first responding officers discovered in that hotel room tells us something crucial about the fine line between love and hate. Lori, still in her wedding dress, lay motionless beside the bed. The room, meticulously decorated for a romantic wedding night, had become a grotesque crime scene. Rose petals mixed with blood on the cream carpet, and the words, "You lied," were scrawled on the mirror in lipstick. Michael Coleman was found sitting in the hotel lobby, still in his tuxedo, staring blankly at his bloodied hands. When the officers approached, he looked up and said something that would chill the investigators to their core. "I had to do it. She stole my perfect life." But was this really about a stolen perfect life? Or was it about something darker, something that tells us more about the killer than his victim? As we dig deeper into this case, we'll uncover evidence suggesting this might not have been a crime of passion at all. Stay with me, because what investigators found on Michael's laptop would change everything about how this case was understood. The truth about premeditation, family involvement, and a carefully orchestrated plan for revenge is about to emerge. And trust me, nothing could prepare the investigators for what they were about to discover. The laptop would prove to be the key that unlocked this case's darkest secrets. 2 weeks before the wedding, Michael's browser history revealed extensive searches about transgender individuals and, more disturbingly, cases of violence against them. But here's what makes this even more shocking. He had also researched hotels near the Mexican border and ways to dispose of evidence. The anonymous email, as investigators would discover, wasn't anonymous at all. Digital forensics revealed it had been sent from a public library computer just 3 blocks from the office of Michael's sister, Maria Coleman. When confronted, Maria broke down, revealing a conspiracy that had been brewing for months. 6 months earlier, Maria had hired a private investigator to dig into Lori's past, perhaps to put her own suspicions to rest. After all, no one around Lori seemed to have a clue about her true identity. Maybe Maria hoped that uncovering the truth would finally dispel the lingering doubts. Michael was moving too fast, Maria said through tears during her police interview. We needed to know who she really was. The private investigator had tracked Lori's history to Thailand, uncovering medical records and her past identity. But instead of revealing this immediately, the Coleman family had waited until the expensive wedding was paid for, waited until all the guests had gathered, waited until Lori had walked down the aisle. They chose the moment that would hurt her the most. But here's where the story takes an even darker turn. Text messages recovered from Michael's phone showed conversations with his father the night before the wedding. "Tomorrow we teach her about consequences," one message read. "No one makes a fool of our family, never." The premeditation was clear, but what happened in that hotel room went far beyond any planned confrontation. The medical examiner's report revealed that Lori had been live for several minutes after the initial attack, conscious enough to try reaching for her phone. The last thing she typed into her notes app were 3 words: "I loved you." The brutality of the crime scene told its own story. Detective Sizemore would later testify that she had never seen such a calculated mix of rage and methodology. "This wasn't just about killing," she stated. "This was about punishment. It's a payback. I urge you to stay with me now, because what happened next in the investigation revealed how deep family loyalty can run, and how it can corrupt justice." The Coleman family had rallied around Michael, hiring the best defense attorneys money could buy. Their strategy? Paint Lori as the deceiver, the one who had orchestrated an elaborate fraud. But they hadn't counted on Lori's laptop being recovered. Hidden in her personal files was a draft of a letter she'd never sent, dated just 2 days before the wedding. In it, she detailed her struggles with identity, her fear of rejection, and most importantly, her plan to tell Michael the truth after their honeymoon. "I want to start our marriage with honesty," she had written. "I hope love will be stronger than fear." That letter would never be read by its intended recipient. Instead, it became Exhibit A in the prosecution's case, showing Lori not as a deceiver, but as someone trapped between love and fear, planning to risk everything for the truth. As the investigation deepened, another disturbing element emerged. Security footage from the hotel showed Michael's father standing guard in the hallway while the murder took place, actively preventing hotel staff from investigating the disturbance. This wasn't just a crime of passion. It was a family-orchestrated execution. The trial of Michael Coleman began 9 months after Lori's death, in a courtroom packed with media and spectators. But it wasn't just Michael on trial, it was prejudice itself. The prosecution's opening statement would silence the courtroom. This isn't about deception. This is about a man who decided that his pride and family reputation was worth more than a human life. What happened during those 6 weeks of testimony would expose how hatred can hide behind respectability. The defense painted Michael as a victim of deception, a man who had snapped under the weight of betrayal. But the prosecution had an ace up their sleeve, Lori's best friend and co-worker. She goes by the name Deborah. Deborah took the stand on day 3, clutching a USB drive that would change everything. "Lori made this video 2 months before the wedding," she testified. "She asked me to keep it safe, just in case something happened to her." The courtroom fell silent as Lori's face appeared on the screen. "If you're watching this," she began, "something has gone wrong. I want the world to know that I lived my truth, even if it cost me everything." She went on to detail the death threats she'd received, the suspicious cars following her, and her growing fear of the Coleman family. But perhaps the most damning evidence came from Michael's own mother, Betty Coleman. Under intense cross-examination, she broke down and revealed how the family had planned not just to expose Lori, but to make an example of her. The prosecution's theory that this was a premeditated hate crime suddenly had a powerful foundation. Text messages between family members revealed a shocking coordination. "Wait until she's in her dress," one message read. Wait until she feels safe. The calculated cruelty of their timing sent shockwaves through the courtroom. The defense's case began to crumble when their star witness, a psychologist meant to testify about acute emotional trauma, was discredited. Records showed the Coleman family had paid for his testimony in previous cases. The jury watched as the narrative of a man driven by betrayal transformed into one of calculated hatred. Stay with me now, because the verdict, when it came, would set a precedent for hate crime prosecution nationwide. After just 6 hours of deliberation, the jury returned. Michael Coleman was found guilty of first-degree murder with hate crime enhancements. But they didn't stop there. Maria and their father were convicted as accessories to murder. The judge's words at sentencing still echo through the legal community. This court sends a message today that no amount of money, family influence, or cultural prejudice can justify taking a life. Love may be complex, but murder is simple. It is wrong. Michael Coleman received life without possibility of parole. His father and sister each received 20 years. Today, 3 years after Lori's murder, her story continues to create ripples of change throughout society. In the months following the trial, 5 different individuals came forward, sharing how Lori's story gave them the courage to leave potentially violent relationships. Each of them had recognized warning signs similar to those that preceded Lori's murder. These final revelations are indeed a testament of how one tragic story can prevent countless others. The Coleman family's wealth and influence crumbled in the aftermath. Betty Coleman, after serving 2 years for her role in the conspiracy, now speaks at anti-violence workshops, sharing her devastating journey from prejudice to regret. "I lost my son to hate," she tells audiences, "and in doing so, I became complicit in destroying another mother's child." The anonymous email that triggered that fatal night was traced to more than just Maria Coleman. A network of private investigators and hate groups had been involved, revealing how organized prejudice can hide behind the facade of family concerns. This discovery led to 3 additional arrests and the shutdown of 2 organizations specializing in exposing transgender individuals. Lori's final letter, the one found on her laptop. Her words, "I hope love will be stronger than fear," now serve as a powerful reminder of the human cost of hatred and the importance of acceptance. In his prison cell, Michael Coleman finally broke his silence last year in a letter to the parole board. "I didn't just kill Lori that night," he wrote. "I killed the man I thought I was, the values I claimed to have, and any chance at redemption. Her only crime was loving me enough to plan to tell me the truth." Before we end this story, ask yourself, how many signs of impending violence do we miss every day? How many lives could be saved if we chose understanding over judgment? And most importantly, what would you do if someone trusted you with their truth? Lori's story teaches us that the distance between understanding and prejudice is one we can all help to bridge. If you or someone you know is facing similar circumstances, remember, there is help available. Seek help. Open up at the right time and to the appropriate person. No one should have to choose between their truth and their safety. Lori's final words were, "I loved you." Let her legacy inspire us to love more deeply, understand more profoundly, and protect those who trust us with their truth. I hope this story has offered you valuable insights and knowledge. This has been True Crime Stories 24/7. Don't forget to subscribe and share this story, because the next life saved could be someone you hold dear. Until we meet again, stay safe, stay kind, and be good. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.